On October 29, 2004, just 4 days before the presidential elections in the United States, a recording appeared in the news in which Osama bin Laden addresses the people of the United States. In this video, he takes responsibility for the September 11th attacks, condemns the U.S. government's response to these attacks, and presents them as part of a campaign of fear and intimidation, motivated by the destruction during the Civil War. Analysts suggested that the release of the video was timed to influence the U.S. presidential elections. In this recording, published by the Al Jazeera channel, Osama bin Laden makes remarks addressed to the citizens of the United States, pointing out that the best way to avoid another Manhattan, referring to the 9/11 attacks, is not to threaten the security of Muslim countries. Although Al Jazeera did not reveal the source of the video, the CIA confirmed that the speaker appearing behind the podium is indeed bin Laden. The mention of the name of the 2004 U.S. presidential candidate John Kerry on the tape seemed to prove that bin Laden was still alive, meaning the hunt for the most wanted man on the planet was on. Osama bin Laden, the founder and former leader of Al-Qaeda, went into hiding after the start of the war in Afghanistan to avoid capture by the United States or its allies for his role in the September 11th attacks. After he escaped capture during the Battle of Tora Bora in December 2001, his whereabouts became unclear, and various rumors about his health and further role in Al-Qaeda were spread. The whereabouts and health of bin Laden were the subject of constant speculation since his disappearance after the Battle of Tora Bora. Initially, rumors circulated that bin Laden had been killed or mortally wounded during American bombings, or that he had died of natural causes. Investigations stalled, and the situation became frustrating, especially considering the fact that 3 years earlier, there had been close calls in capturing bin Laden. In 2001, an international coalition led by the United States invaded Afghanistan to dismantle the Al-Qaeda terrorist organization. When the Taliban refused to hand over Osama bin Laden, more than 130,000 NATO troops were stationed in Afghanistan during the height of the conflict. The Taliban regime quickly began to collapse. After the defeat at Mazar-e-Sharif on November 9, 2001, Taliban strongholds started to fall within the following week as the coalition advanced. While tracking the Al-Qaeda leader bin Laden to a well-fortified cave complex at Tora Bora, southeast of Kabul, Afghan militias fought intense battles with Al-Qaeda fighters for 2 weeks. This led to the deaths of several hundred people, and eventually to bin Laden's escape, who is believed to have fled on horseback on December 16th, just 1 day before Afghan forces captured the remaining 20 of his men. One of them, Mohammed al-Qahtani, captured during the Battle of Tora Bora in December 2001, would eventually lead to bin Laden's trail. In June 2002, al-Qahtani was sent to a detention camp at Guantanamo Bay, where he continued to use a fictitious name and insisted that he was in the area solely for falconry. 10 months later, U.S. immigration authorities took his fingerprints and discovered that he was the same person who had attempted to enter the United States shortly before the September 11th attacks. After examining airport surveillance footage, the FBI announced that they had identified a car at the airport that was there to pick up al-Qahtani. The car's owner was Mohammed Atta, the leader of the September 11th attacks and the hijacker pilot of American Airlines Flight 11. He was the one who crashed into the North Tower of the World Trade Center. At 33 years old, he was the oldest of the hijackers involved in the operation. Military officials invited FBI investigators to interrogate al-Qahtani shortly after September 26, 2002. Senior political figures from the administration flew to Camp Delta to see al-Qahtani and speak with his interrogators. They tried to develop ways to break the resistance of the detainees and made a list of potential methods that could be used. However, all they managed to obtain was some insight into the inner workings of the organization. Abu Zubaydah, the logistics chief of the group, was captured in Pakistan in March 2002 and has been in U.S. custody since then. During his detention, the CIA subjected Zubaydah to numerous interrogations, including waterboarding 83 times, and other methods such as forced nudity, sleep deprivation, withholding solid food, stress positions, and physical assaults. Videos of some of Zubaydah's interrogations were reportedly among those destroyed by the CIA in 2005. Ultimately, Zubaydah provided information that al-Qaeda's operational commander, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, was planning an attack on the U.S. the following year. He was also captured. His arrest helped the U.S. better understand the structure of the al-Qaeda network with bin Laden at the helm, but his whereabouts were still unknown. However, through enhanced interrogation methods, the CIA obtained valuable information that bin Laden had a trusted courier named Hassan Gul. In early 2004, Kurdish forces captured Gul and handed him over to U.S. intelligence. It was reported that he served in various roles, from delivering messages for al-Qaeda members to acting as a courier. He was held in a secret CIA facility for 2 years, and later revealed that bin Laden's personal courier was someone named Abu Ahmed al-Kuwaiti. When investigators asked Khalid Sheikh Mohammed about the courier's name, he confirmed that he knew al-Kuwaiti but denied that he had any connection to al-Qaeda. In May 2005, Abu Farah Ali was captured on the outskirts of the northern Pakistani city of Mardan. The CIA learned that when he was appointed as Khalid Sheikh Mohammed's successor, he received information through a courier, but he denied knowing al-Kuwaiti, just like Mohammed. Shortly after a week of enhanced interrogation methods, he admitted that he knew al-Kuwaiti and provided crucial information about him. He revealed that the courier delivered messages from bin Laden to the outside world approximately every 2 months. With this information, the National Security Agency began intercepting phone calls and emails between al-Kuwaiti and his family, as well as others in Pakistan. From there, they discovered his real name, Ibrahim Saeed Ahmed, a Pakistani born in Kuwait. Although it took 2 years to uncover his true identity, it would be several more years before they were able to locate him. In July 2010, calls made via satellite phone by the courier were tracked by the U.S. National Security Agency, NSA, which led to the identification of numbers presumably linked to Kuwait. Among all the countless conversations, only one individual stood out due to his distinct accent and matching profile. Pakistani agents working on the ground noticed the courier's car and began tracking his movements. In August 2010, the courier, unknowingly, led agents to a compound in Abbottabad, a 3-story building with high concrete walls. The complex was so large, isolated, and secure that analysts concluded it was being used to hide a high-value target. To determine whether bin Laden was inside, a covert apartment was set up in Abbottabad, allowing CIA operatives to observe the daily activities within the compound for several months. The CIA used telephoto cameras, infrared imaging equipment, and high-tech eavesdropping tools to try to capture voices inside the compound, where there were no phone lines or internet connections. A decision was made to exclude any cooperation with Pakistan, as it was believed that involving them could jeopardize the mission. By mid-February 2011, after a series of meetings in the White House, which included the president, it was concluded that there was reliable intelligence to develop a plan for capturing bin Laden on site. U.S. Secretary of Defense Leon Panetta, along with other officials, had significant circumstantial evidence suggesting that bin Laden was inside the compound. But no satellite had managed to capture a photo of him or any of his family members. The decision was made that the evidence was sufficient to risk a raid. On May 2, 2011, helicopters arrived at the compound in Abbottabad to carry out the operation. At 3:30 a.m. Pakistan time, they advanced into the house, breaking through walls and doors to clear the first and second floors. The Navy SEALs then moved to the 3rd floor, where they encountered Osama bin Laden. He was unarmed, wearing a loose tunic and pants, in which they later found 500 euros and 2 phone numbers sewn into the fabric. According to US officials, bin Laden was buried at sea because no country would accept his remains.